everybody. We are talking free agency tonight. There have been some recent signings. Let me call it up right here. Where is that list? Dun, dun, dun. Is this it? Nope, that's not the one I wanted. Let's see. Not the one I wanted. Free agent signings. Is this it? Yes, this is it. We did have free agent signings within the last 20 minutes, everybody. Let's just go over those real quick. See who is around. Let's call it out. About 15 minutes ago, Titans spent more money on safety Xavier Woods. And I guess the bigger news in the last 20 minutes has been the signing of DeAndre Hopkins, who played for the Chiefs this past year. He was signed by the Ravens just 20 minutes ago. Almost an hour ago, Ty Johnson, running back for the Bills, is returning to the Bills on a 2-year contract. Let's see. Nick Westbrook Ikine. Oh my God, I forgot his. It's Ikine, I think. He signed a 2-year, $6.5 million deal. So he goes from the Titans to the Dolphins. So that's a little bit bigger news. Jacoby Brissett was signed by the Cardinals, so he'll be the backup for Kyler Murray as of right now. Johnny Hekker was signed by the Titans on a 1-year deal. Micah Parsons seems to be enjoying the 49ers dismantling. Soon they'll have to pay Brock Purdy. Oh, well, that's not a signing. Saints add Chiefs safety Justin Reed. Let's see, fantasy player wise, cornerback. Okay, Zay Jones returning to the Cardinals on a 1-year deal worth $4.4 million. All right. Running back Jeremy McNichols returning to the Commanders on a 1-year deal. It doesn't give me the price here or the cost or whatever. Tight end Juwan Johnson agrees with the Saints on a $30.75 million deal. $21 million is guaranteed. It's a 3-year deal, so he'll be making almost $10 million a year. Ravens fullback Patrick Ricard back to Baltimore on a 1-year deal. So it looks like Baltimore's doing a lot of re-signing. Let's see. Safety. I'm just going wide receiver Cavante Turpin. Special teams. He's the highest paid special teamer in the NFL. He's getting a 3-year, $18 million deal with the Cowboys. Let's see. Anybody on YouTube? Any questions you guys have? Hey, look, it's the many faces of our friend Nathaniel Sampson. Oh God, dude, you got to get rid of all the fake accounts. Daniel Jones signed a 1-year deal, $14 million with the Colts today, everybody. $6 million is a signing bonus. 7.15 is the base salary, fully guaranteed. 850,000 are active bonuses, and up to 3.7 million in incentives tied to playtime and playoff wins. Let's see. Let's see if there's any other fantasy type players here. Okay, now we can go through some of the players. We'll just go through the teams alphabetically on retained and signed. I'm going to be pulling their the fantasy football players, so you don't have to worry about this here. Okay. Jeez, Nathaniel. Hey, Eitan's here. Giants got Holland. Yeah, baby. What's up, everybody? Eitan, you need to buy Sideline Fans' new book. Yes. All right. Arizona Cardinals retained Zay Jones. They signed quarterback Jacoby Brissett as a backup. I'm just going through fantasy players. The Baltimore Ravens retained fullback Patrick Ricard. Buffalo Bills retained Josh Allen, Khalil Shakir, and Ty Johnson. They also signed Darrington Evans, who's a running back. Carolina Panthers retained Andy Dalton and tight end Tommy Tremble. They also, not that he's a fantasy type player, but they also signed Sam Martin, a punter. All right, Chicago Bears, mostly linemen, linebacker, cornerback. All right, so some defense, some offense. They solidified their lines of scrimmage, if you will. Chicago Bears did sign, though, tight end Durham's, it's either Smythe or Smith, and tight end Robert Tonyan. I don't know if the Yankees will make it to the playoffs. That Garrett Cole announcement was a pretty big deal. Cincinnati Bengals obviously retained T. Higgins, Mike Gesicki. We're just going over Tanner Hudson, a tight end, and they signed running back Samaje Perine. I believe he played for Kansas City last year. Cleveland Browns traded for Kenny Pickett from the Eagles, so he'll maybe be their starting quarterback, I'm assuming. All right. The Dallas Cowboys retain wide receiver Cavante Turpin. We're only going over fantasy positions. They signed Javonte Williams from the Broncos. The Broncos retain quarterback Jarrett Stidham. And that's about it from fantasy positions. Green Bay Packers retained Brandon McManus, their kicker. And the Houston Texans traded for Christian Kirk. You all knew that. That was from earlier. They also retained running back Dari Agunbawali. Sideline fans moderator, I just realized that showcase stuff where you do the drills and scouts see you is $7.50. I just realized the showcase stuff where you do the drills and scouts see you is $7.50. What? I don't know what you're talking about, dude. So are the Bosa brothers back together? Has he been signed? The last I saw was that. Let me look it up. Nick Bosa. Nick and Joey Bosa. Are Nick and Joey Bosa related? Yeah, the 49ers are signing free agent pass rusher Joey Bosa to pair with his brother, Nick Bosa. So, yeah, they'll be teammates. All right. Something happened to my camera here, huh? Oh, this is not good. This is so not good. I'm just going to do this. I'm going to change my camera here. This is ridiculous. Camera. Okay. Well, the free version of StreamYard is causing me consternation right now. So that's absolutely no fun. Let's see. Can I do this? They're going to. All right, I'm back on. I'm back on, baby. Somehow I guess I'm back on. Boy, that's a whole different look of the camera, huh? Okay. Yeah, so the Bosa brothers are back together. I think on Joey's wiki, it comes, he shows as a 49ers. Yeah, they're both 49ers, Callum. They're both DeAndre Hopkins to the Ravens. Yes, that was more recent. That was like within 20, 25 minutes ago. All right, let's go Indianapolis Colts. They retained wide receiver Ashton Dulin, and they signed Daniel Jones to a 1-year, $14 million contract. Jacksonville Jags, Nick Mullins, 2 years, $6.5 million. They retained, and tight end Hunter Long they retained. They have no news. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. They signed those two. I'm sorry. They did not retain. Kansas City Chiefs retained Hollywood Brown, wide receiver, and they signed Elijah Mitchell, running back. The Las Vegas Raiders obviously traded for Geno Smith, and they retained Max Crosby. Was that really in doubt, the Max Crosby signing? Los Angeles Chargers retained punter J.K. Scott. They also signed, as you guys probably know earlier today, Najee Harris from Pittsburgh. Los Angeles Rams retained Matthew Stafford, quarterback, and quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo. And they signed Davante Adams. Miami Dolphins making some noise. They signed quarterback Zach Wilson, and they signed Nick Westbrook-Ikhine for a 2-year, $6.5 million contract. Minnesota retained Aaron Jones, running back. New England, let's see here. Any offensive? They signed Mac Hollins and quarterback Josh Dobbs. New Orleans Saints retained Juwan Johnson and wide receiver Dante Pettis. New York Giants retained Darius Slayton and tight end Chris Manhertz and quarterback Tommy DeVito. Not too many fantasy football signees by the Giants. The Jets signed quarterback Justin Fields, as almost everybody knows. That should be interesting. He's sort of the two-way type of quarterback. Callum, DeAndre Hopkins to the Ravens. Yes, that happened about 25 minutes ago. Philadelphia Eagles traded for Dorian Thompson-Robinson. That was the Pickett deal. And they retained Saquon Barkley on 2 years, $41 million extension. Pittsburgh Steelers, as you all know, traded for DK Metcalf from the Seahawks. And they also signed tight end Donald Parham for a 1-year, $1.17 million contract. San Francisco 49ers retained Patrick Taylor, running back, and Jordan Mason. Taylor was signed to a 1-year deal. Mason was a second-round restricted free agent tender. So if someone else signs him and they don't match it, they get a second rounder. Okay, just to do a little reset real quick, everybody. We do have a fantasy baseball team on our YouTube channel. So please feel free to join that. It is on YouTube. You have to go to Sideline Fans, well, at symbol Sideline Fans, and in the post or the community section where you can make posts, it has all the information about that. We need a few more teams. I think last I checked, we had 4 total, so we can use a few more sign-ups. And the draft is this Sunday, March 16th. It'll be live. I'll live stream that draft, so that'll be fun. It's always fun to do those live. Also, don't forget, I do have a new book out. It's the fantasy football book. If you go to Sideline-Fans, yes, we have a website now, sideline-fans.com. You can get all the details about the book and also the online training or online classes, the online playbooks that I have put together. One's on fantasy baseball, one's on fantasy football. I put those together a few months ago. They're a little bit different than the book. You know, it's a fantasy football book, and then it's a fantasy baseball class and a fantasy football class. So they're a little bit different, but they're significant. I mean, the online classes are at least 26 pages, and the book is, I don't know, like 30 pages of strategy and 30 pages of players and what their benefits are going into 2025 and 2026. So don't miss those. All right, let's move on here to the Seattle Seahawks, everybody. Seattle Seahawks, they obviously signed. Hey, Sideline Fans moderator wants to be on TV. What is going on? What's going on, my friend?
Hey, what's up?
How are you? How's school? How's baseball?
I'm doing good. I'm just sitting on the bench, not doing much.
Are you hitting? Do they even have you coming in at all for any games?
No.
What if you're winning or losing by a lot? Do they have you coming in?
Well, we're in the preseason right now. I think we have a game tomorrow.
Oh,
We might catch an inning or two.
okay. Yeah, you don't have to pay me for the shirts. The shirts, if you got the shirts went through. Don't worry about it. But that's great, dude. Did you order a book, by the way?
No, not yet.
No, okay. Because I got one book order, but then I had two people both say they ordered a book, and I was like, I was just trying to figure out who it was. So, all right, a lot of movement with football, man. A lot of movement with football, huh? What's your favorite signing?
Yeah, I know.
What's
Over.
Yeah, they got Sam Darnold. That's what I was just talking about. And then Tampa Bay, Chris Godwin turned down more money to stay with Tampa Bay. I was a little surprised by that. So, the Titans haven't done as much. Washington Commanders traded for Deebo Samuel.
I'd probably do that in that situation.
What's that?
I'd rather take a pay cut to stay with a better team than be on like
Yeah.
the Jaguars.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Zach Ertz stays with the Commanders, and Jeremy McNichols and running back. He's a running back, and kicker Zane Gonzalez stays with the Commanders. They signed, well, nobody really fantasy worthy. Let's see. Oh, that's it. All right. So I pulled up a bunch of stats. What was some of your favorite signings?
I think the DK signing, because DK and Pickens, they're gonna go crazy together.
Oh, you think? Who do you think is going to be the quarterback though? Wilson or Rodgers?
Have they signed Rodgers?
No, they haven't signed anybody. Wilson or Rodgers are both free agents, and that's the talk. It's going to be one of them signing with the Steelers. I think they'll sign Rodgers. I don't know. I just have that feeling that they'll sign Rodgers, but you know, I've been known to be wrong before. So, but we've had, like, okay.
Daniel Jones is now on the Colts making $12 million a year.
No, $14 million. Well, I don't know how much is guaranteed or not, but I know he's signed for $14 million. So, let's see here. Let me go. I want to pull this out. Hold on. Where did that go? All right. We have real quick. It's kind of interesting to me to see who changed teams. Sam Darnold obviously went from the Vikings to the Seahawks. Your man Josh Sweat went from the Eagles to the Cardinals. From one bird to another. Milton Williams went from the Eagles. They got hit hard, but every championship team gets hit hard, dude. Went from the Eagles to the Pats. Drew Dahlman went from the Falcons to
the Eagles to the Pats.
Milton Williams. Drew Dahlman went from the Falcons. Yeah, some of them aren't that big of a deal, but Drew Dahlman went from the Falcons to the Bears. DJ Reed went from the Jets to the Lions. Javon Holland, as Eitan was saying, went from the Dolphins to the Giants. Bond stayed with your Eagles. Just looking. Carlton Davis went from the Lions to the Pats. Let's get some bigger names here. Oh, yeah. Yeah, with Cleveland. Yeah. Let's see here. Dre Greenlaw. Well, he's.
Watched that Draft Day movie.
Oh, did you like it?
It's by far one of my favorite movies.
Oh, it's pretty good. Yeah, it really is. It's the Kevin Costner movie, right? That one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wide receiver De'Ami Brown went from the Commanders to the Jags. See, kind of to your point, I would have maybe he signed a 1-year, $10 million deal. I might have stayed with the Commanders unless they didn't want him on their team. Like, to go from the Commanders that were in the NFC Championship game to the Jags, who weren't even close to making the playoffs. I mean, that's tough. Justin Fields, though, as I said earlier, and as most of you guys know, went from the Steelers to the Jets. So that was a big kind of to-do. Let's see what else. All right. Man, my numbers are just, woo, my numbers are real. Yeah. You mean the Kindle? Yeah, the Kindle's the same. Now, what's below me on TikTok, what's below me, it's completely different. It's something I wrote a few months ago, and it's supposed to be a class. It's 26 pages, but the Kindle and the paperback are the same. Yeah. Yeah, chug, 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 chug. So you're just sitting on the bench. They're not even pinch hitting you or anything.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I'm not sure I understand.
Oh God.
I'm not the best, but I think I should get something.
Well, yeah, they should at least to give you the experience. They should give you something, like just to have you bat. What's that?
These are just practice games.
Oh well. Yeah, but you would think during a practice game they would let you bat, Like they wouldn't just not let you, so. All right, let's see what other stats I can pull out of my rear end here.
Or you know what? I'll send you some videos. Or one or two
Videos of what?
This kid, he's a senior.
Yeah.
I'll send you a picture of me catching.
Okay, cool. They actually gave the Sam Darnold Bleacher Report gave the Sam Darnold signing to the Seahawks an A-. I was a little surprised. Justin Fields going to the Jets an A. Let's see. There's more. I'm not going for defensive players. OG. I'm not going. Well, the Buffalo Bills signed wide receiver Joshua Palmer, got a D+. I'm just going through whatever the order is. And sometimes they don't have the most up-to-date signings. So defensive tackle, safety, cornerback. What's that? What's
paying Darnold over $100 million?
Well, I think it's actually like 100 million even, isn't it? I mean, well, it doesn't matter. The thing with Darnold is this: he's got to show something. Like the last 2 or 3 games that he played, he wasn't very good, and so there's a lot of questions. I think that's why Minnesota didn't keep him. I think if he had played better the last few games in the playoff game, they probably would have kept him, but they figured, you know what, we can go with a rookie and lose our first playoff game, like JJ's not gonna be that much different, and they liked him going into last year anyway. He had the starting role. So let's see. Josh Sweat heads. Okay, they're saying that Josh Sweat is an A-. That's Bleacher Report. The Vikings signed center Ryan Kelly is a B+. I'm just looking for bigger things here. Okay, offensive tackle. No, we're in a cornerback. Offensive tackle. Carlton Davis, linebacker. Wow. Okay, Chris Godwin got a B by Tampa Bay. I don't know why he would have gotten more. He actually, like I said earlier, like we were talking about, he took a pay cut to stay with Tampa Bay. So I don't know why they wouldn't give him any credit for that. But that's just, I guess, the way media is. Maybe they didn't want him to sign or something. I wonder what they're going to do with McMillan, though. That's what I was thinking all along. Like, what happens to McMillan now? Because he was coming on. Like, we all knew he was going to kind of be decent. Then he was injured and he didn't play a couple games after.
Yeah, he was hot.
Yeah, but at the end of the season, he had a touchdown, I think, in every game he played. So it'll be interesting to see, because now, they have Evans, Godwin, and McMillan. They have 3, really good wide receivers. So I don't know. I mean, the way I look at it, though, is if you think about it to a certain extent, having an extra wide receiver to me is like having an extra starting pitcher, because you almost can't have enough, because they seem to go down, don't they? Like they seem to get injured a lot, right? Like every wide receiver, outside of like Justin Jefferson, I think was injured at least one game. Like even St. Brown and obviously Nico Collins with Houston and all those types of folks, they all had some sort of injury. So it's almost good to have that. I mean, look at the 49ers. They were obliterated by injuries with their wide receivers. So I don't think it's the worst deal. It just, when they're all three healthy, that probably will be a headache for the defenses, but you got to figure that's three people always looking for the ball. It's going to be, it's going to put a lot of pressure on everybody involved to play well and to get them the ball, I'm sure. So we'll see. It'll be interesting. There's absolutely no doubt about that. But all right. Any surprise moves or anything you thought?
Number one fantasy player for next fantasy.
I guess you got to give it to Saquon just because of the 2,000 yards. And he's so head and shoulders above anybody else. Because if you think about it, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, even Joe Burrow, there's like three top quarterbacks. Like you might be able to get one of them, but it's almost like Saquon Barkley, maybe Derrick Henry, and then everybody else. Like the elite talent is really there's a big difference between the elite talent with running backs compared to quarterbacks. Now I know that quarterbacks, well, in fantasy, in ESPN, I think, what is the passing touchdowns worth 4 points and not 6, I think. So they've even adjusted what quarterback point totals can be, So I think Saquon, obviously you can't go wrong with Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen or Joe Burrow. Although Joe Burrow, you're going to go crazy because probably the first 4 weeks, he's going to lay an egg a bunch of those games, like he's just not going to do very well, which isn't the worst thing. But, there is no clear cut CMC, I guess, in some ways, So I do think if you got Derrick Henry, he's probably number 5 out of all those guys that I'm thinking about just off the top of my head, which, it's pretty elite. So you got 5 solid players, and then you can go Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, then you're talking 7. So if you have a 10-team league, you're getting, even if you pick 10th, or 9th, you're going to get a pretty decent team because it's pretty deep now with the, hey, Jose, nice to see you, Jose. Glad to have you on board, buddy. Where have you been? All right. We are talking free agency. Let me just go through some of the stuff. I know we get people coming and going a lot. So let me just go through some of the stuff.
Nick with the roses.
Nick, what's going on, Nick? Let's go through some of these right here. Right now on the free agent. We're just going to go through some of the teams I know. And just to reset everybody, a couple of things going on YouTube. We do have a fantasy baseball draft this Sunday. Please sign up. You have to go to YouTube. You have to go to @SidelineFans on YouTube, okay, to sign up. We also have a fantasy football book that I just released this week. It just came out. It's on Amazon. There's a Kindle version and a paperback version, and you can get that. You can get that on Amazon, and the link, you can actually go to Sideline-Fans. So we finally have our own website, Sideline-Fans, and you can get the book. You can sign up for the classes. There's a fantasy baseball class, a fantasy football class. They're essentially playbooks, let's say. There aren't videos of me just because it seems kind of silly, but there's playbooks. You can just watch my videos. So, okay. Also, so that's a reset. We have a book. You can go to Sideline-Fans and get that. So let's talk about what is going on in the NFL. I'm telling you, YouTube is killing me lately. All right.
Really need to try to get a lineup card this year.
Get a what?
A lineup card.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'll try. All right. Arizona Cardinals retained Zay Jones, wide receiver. They signed Jacoby Brissett, quarterback, to a 2-year deal. I'm just going through fantasy football type of positions. Baltimore Ravens retained fullback Patrick Ricard. Trivia Tuesday. Oh, I don't have any trivia ready. You should have got me. Hey, Drays, what's going on, Drays? Haven't seen Drays in a while. What is going on, Drays? Haven't seen you in a while. A lot of free agent football going on. We're going to be talking about a little bit of baseball, although baseball is not nearly as loved as football. And then we'll be talking about the NFL draft as well. Buffalo Bills retained Josh Allen, Khalil Shakir, and running back Ty Johnson. Let's see. They signed running back Darrington Evans. Carolina Panthers retained Andy Dalton. We're just going through fantasy football positions. The Bears signed a lot of people to like offensive lineman, offensive guard, linebacker, cornerback, defensive tackle. They signed a defensive tackle. They signed tight end Durham Smith or Smythe. And they've signed tight end Robert Tanyan. Cincinnati Bengals retained T. Higgins, Mike Gesicki, and tight end Tanner Hudson. Yeah, Dyami Brown somehow, that will have no effect. Yes, Dyami Brown. Yeah, I saw that. The Cincinnati Bengals also signed Samaje Perine from Kansas City. Cleveland Browns traded for Kenny Pickett, so I'm assuming he'll be their quarterback. We're just going over fantasy football kind of positions. Dallas Cowboys retained KaVontae Turpin, wide receiver, kick returner, punt returner. They signed from Denver Javonte Williams. Javonte Williams, who really never put up that great of numbers last year. Everybody kind of thought he would, but they could not get that running game going. Denver couldn't. Denver Broncos retained, I'm assuming, backup quarterback Jarrett Stidham. Boop, 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 doo. Green Bay Packers retained kicker Brandon McManus. If I fin. Houston Texans traded for Christian Kirk, but y'all probably knew that. They retained, Houston Texans retained Dare Aganbowale to a 1-year, $2 million deal. They signed wide receiver Braxton Berrios and wide receiver Justin Watson. That's Houston. And Watson, as you know, was with Kansas City, so they kept it in the same division. They like to also, pick off not only do teams like to pick off the team that wins the Super Bowl, they like to pick off teams that are in their same division. So trying to take down the Kansas City Chiefs. All right, let's keep going with this. We're at Houston. All of a sudden, my computer's running super duper slow. Probably because I always have to have two computers on. Okay, we were at Houston. We're going back up. Sorry about the delay. Okay, we're just going over fantasy football positions. Indianapolis Colts retained wide receiver Ashton Dulin to a 2-year, $8.5 million contract. And as you probably know, they signed quarterback Daniel Jones to a 1-year, $14 million contract. Jacksonville signed tight end Johnny Munt and tight end Hunter Long. And they also signed Dyami, as Drays, I think, said, Dyami Brown. Kansas City Chiefs retained Hollywood Brown, wide receiver, to a 1-year, $11 million contract. And they signed running back Elijah Mitchell, probably my guess because Perine went to Cincinnati. And as you know, the Raiders traded for Geno Smith from the Seahawks, which led to the opening that we'll be talking about later with Seattle for Sam Darnold. All right. Los Angeles Chargers re-signed their punter, J.K. Scott. And they, as you know, earlier today, signed to a 1-year, $5.25 million deal, Najee Harris. It'll be interesting to see how they use Najee compared to how Pittsburgh did. Pittsburgh did run him a decent amount. The only difference is he didn't score a lot of touchdowns. He wasn't used for those kinds of things. So it'll be interesting if he'll be scoring more touchdowns with the Chargers. J.K. Dobbins is obviously a free agent, so that's why they went after Najee. And it'll be interesting to see, if his stats will change at all, if his average touchdown per game or what have you will change. I'd like to see that go up. I thought that Pittsburgh didn't always necessarily use him on short yardage around the goal line, and that was probably very unfortunate and kept him out of the end zone a lot. So we have that. Los Angeles Rams retained Matthew Stafford, as you know, and Jimmy Garoppolo. And they signed, as y'all know, Davante Adams, one of the bigger names. All right, Miami Dolphins signed wide receiver Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, and they signed quarterback Zach Wilson. So I think they upgraded backup quarterbacks. Minnesota retained Aaron Jones. New England Patriots, they signed wide receiver Mac Hollins, and they signed quarterback Josh Dobbs. And let's see, New Orleans Saints retained wide receiver Dante Pettis to a one-year deal. The Giants retained Darius Slayton, the wide receiver. They also retained backup quarterback Tommy DeVito, or maybe he's the starter. I'm not even sure at this point. The Jets, as you know, signed Justin Fields, who played for Pittsburgh last year, the two-way quarterback. What's that? What's that?
That you're not really sure because the Giants go through so many QBs.
Yeah, no, I'm not even sure at all. I mean, they also have the Drew Lock or whoever it is. Philadelphia Eagles, as they got rid of Pickett, they traded Pickett to Cleveland, and they got Cleveland's Dorian Thompson-Robinson, who had moments of quality play, but he wasn't very steady, and they obviously retained.
Not really.
Yeah, he wasn't very good for Cleveland, but they retained Saquon Barkley, but that was a while ago. What's that? Pittsburgh Steelers, as you all know, traded for DK Metcalf. Yeah, Dorian will be. Yeah, he'll be on the bench. There's no doubt about that one. Make no mistake on that. Let's see. DK Metcalf, Pittsburgh traded for. And Pittsburgh signed tight end Donald Parham to a one-year, $1.17 million. San Francisco retained two running backs, Patrick Taylor to a 1 year, and Jordan Mason. He is a second-round restricted free agent tender, which means they can match whatever is offered by another team, or if they don't re-sign him, I believe they get a second-round pick. So probably he stays with the 49ers. And they also signed Luke Farrell to a 3-year, $20.25 million. What's that?
Have you been to a Blues game?
I haven't been to a Blues game this year. I need to go, but they've been playing a lot better. They were kind of dogging it there. All right. Seattle, as everybody knows, signed Sam Darnold. Tampa Bay signed Chris Godwin to a 3-year, $66 million deal. Tennessee didn't really sign much. Washington Commanders traded for Deebo Samuel. They re-signed Zach Ertz. They re-signed, who's a tight end. They re-signed John Bates, who's a tight end. They re-signed running back Jeremy McNichols. And over here, I can tell you some of the folks that are still, well, this is a lot of defense. We know Russell Wilson. Oh yeah. The Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson, I believe, still haven't been signed. I'm just going to double check that real quick. There's sort of this update ticker that I get. Well, it's just Yahoo News. It's nothing special. Let's just see. As hopefully everybody knows, the Ravens signed DeAndre Hopkins, who played for the Chiefs last year. Ty Johnson returning to the Bills on a 2-year deal. Going through these. Dolphins, as I said, signed wide receiver Nick Westbrook-Ikhine. Jacoby Brissett signing with the Cardinals. He's a quarterback. He's from New England. Let's see who else. What else? Saints safety. Nah, I'm not worried about that. Defensive end, cornerback. Oh yeah, Zay Jones will be with the Cardinals. He's returning to the Cardinals rather. Jeremy McNichols with the Commanders. Jawan Johnson with the Saints again. Ravens re-signed fullback Patrick Ricard.
What happened to Nelson?
Anthony Nelson? He
Brett Favre lover.
Oh, I don't know. I think he remember he said there's too many kids on and he kind of just stopped listening to us. So, one of those things. It just happens. No big deal. All right. I'm going to be live tomorrow. I might go live 2 times tomorrow. So, all right, Nathaniel, you take care, buddy. Get
All right, you too.
have
our game at 4 p.m.
Okay, do good in your game tomorrow. I'm probably going to go live before that and probably after that. It probably won't affect me. So, all right, man. Good luck. Hopefully you'll.
Yeah, I think I might be able to join before if we go
Okay.
early enough.
All right. Sounds good, man. Have fun. Good luck at the game.
All right.
Take care.